Welcome back everyone to the next episode of Jurassic Palms, our ever so much growing 1998 inspired Jurassic Park. It's kind of, somewhere along the canon as a second park planned in the early 90s and realized at the end of the 90s. And today we are going to build a huge lagoon, which is called the Delta Lagoons because it's basically in a, delta that I envision is kind of where I would put this. It's an enormous amount of water that you require to have to build such a crazy lagoon. And, to bring this water there with a normal kind of, trucks or pipes or whatever would be massive. But in here today, the idea is that we are building an inlet from the, from the lagoon, from the, basically there is like the sea. My idea is that this is kind of the sea. And from there, we have an inlet and there is kind of a filtration system in there, which I do still want to build out a little in the next episodes, because I have some more ideas what we could do with this kind of filter area. But for the moment being, this is the main story about this lagoon, that the lagoon, is obviously man-made, it's artificial, but it uses the water from the sea, which kind of makes a lot of sense from many perspectives because, as these animals are, kind of engineered rather than natural. I'm pretty sure you can engineer them the way that they would basically be able to live in the same kind of water that you have in here. So it's not really as complicated maybe as it would be with other animals in zoos when you have like these lagoons needing different types of waters, kind of fresh water, salt water, whatever. So in here we are just going with the idea that these lagoons are built off of the delta and we have a direct connection to the sea, which is obviously prone to floodings and stuff. There's obviously the chance that this is becoming a bit of an issue here. So we need to think about kind of flood prevention in the future too. But I'll get to that in a real-time part. I have certain ideas how to do that, just like as a bit of an idea here. So you can see me using some of the grass pieces here to lay out a very, very simple idea of where the lagoon has its boundaries. Just like the main layout is done, it's just for the first part ever. I want to have a basic idea before we then go to the central elements of my build. And one of the central elements is the central viewing I was going to use today. So my idea is that this huge lagoon is separated into different kind of bassins. Is that like kind of different tanks, if you will? But I think like the name basin is kind of more fitting. I don't know if that's the English pronunciation or basin or basin. You choose, okay? Whatever. It's different areas where different types of marine life can be in. And I did think that I misjudged the space a little at the beginning. I thought the lagoons are going to be too small, actually. Frankly, they didn't. Frankly, they actually became too big, but I'll get to that in the real-time part. It's good because I was able then to scale it down to basically what I think looks really fantastic. And I'm using the kind of typical rotation trick over here. I did put myself in a bit of a weird situation because I forgot about one thing. I should have just thought about my own little trick here. If you need a tutorial for that, it is on my channel. I have a specific advanced building tutorial if you need any. There is a way how to build perfectly round shapes, such like this one over here, and to ensure that you do this perfectly fine, just as on screen. Also, by the way, the video is again sped up by 5 times, not by 10 times, because of your positive feedback. In the last episode, I kept it the way it is. Hopefully you still like this, and hopefully we can continue with that. It does mean a bit more cutting for me because I do cut out a couple more things, but I think that's fine. We can go there chapter by chapter, and if I don't forget, I will actually add the chapters today, as in the timestamps to the bottom part, so you can see where we are going in this video, what is important and what not. So today's video obviously features the huge lagoon build, and I'm very proud of it. I always had this kind of lagoon in the back of the park in my head, and I've been waiting for a bit because I wanted to lay out a couple other things first to have an idea where this can go and how big it can be. And so you can see over here, I'm starting to kind of create the different sizes of the separate areas. I put some hatcheries in. I thought I was going to bring them there with airlift or so, but at the end of the day, I thought it's going to be more easy. Anyways, let's quickly talk about one of the main features of our build, and that is the inlet. Now, the inlet, as I said, is going to be the main feature as how we got the water in, and it's basically a placeholder for the moment. It took me quite a while to figure out how I want to do this, because there is really not that great water pieces in the game, other than, well, the beautiful waterfalls you can create. I mean, they're great, but the only kind of water feature I have is this kind of fountain piece I'm using over here, and from above, from a distance, it doesn't really look like water. It's like a gray concrete one. You can see that little slight water texture above it, which is great, but I do need to find a way to make this more believable, and also kind of, as I said, a bit more flood proof, I guess, at this point. But at the end of the day, I found a way to make a believable kind of waterfall with some of the fountain pieces here. It was a bit of a struggle to find which one I can use, but I ended up using this piece over here. As you can see, the water VFX are somewhat similar to the ones we have in the Planet games, as in they do react actually to physics in the game. So I thought they may actually just be effects, but they're not. Like, they do react to the physicality of going downwards always. So using this whole thing in a tilt version creates this kind of water effect that you can use as like a waterfall, which I think is pretty cool. Definitely not the best idea in terms of, keeping your FPS low, I guess. But as that wasn't my main focus over here, I kind of tried this. But yeah, so you can see this is basically the kind of piece I'm using. We're gonna have some, stones and rocks next to it. But there's definitely a lot of pipe work missing. There's some inlets missing. Like, there is a bit more I need to do for that. But again, as I said, I want to integrate that properly with the next area I'm going to build. So I had an idea to just kind of try to make this work as another one. Sometimes the German in me is like really trying to find its way out in a proper German accent. I mean, I still do have a proper German accent, but I could make the TH a bit more Germanized and have this always speak like this, I don't know. It's hard. I'm trying my best to get ever so much better at English, also pronunciation wise. So please be patient with me. I'll try my best. I say that after almost 10 years of doing YouTube in English. Whatever. So I wasn't too happy with the color here, so I choose to go with a bit more of a turquoise color. I think that's fine. But at some point I was like, okay, the inlets are done. Now let's quickly move over to some gates. So my idea was that the different lagoons or bazaars are going to be connected with each other. And so I built like one of the gates. I have these blueprints of these walls I built, and the walls were meant to be for the project anyway. So I did just kind of build a variant of it as a water wall. As you can see, I used another one here to the right hand side. And I also figured that I need some more inlets. The cool bit is you can actually use this later on. You can actually go in and click on the different gates, push them away, and then technically the marine life can swim from one area to the other, which is super cool. Like the game allows us to do this. As long as you have collision enabled with the gate, they act like real gates, which is super cool. And I wish we got a way to automate that. This would be so freaking insane. I mean, in Plane Coaster 2, we do have these kind of moving platforms. And that would be a very fun idea to kind of, I don't know, schedule them or so, because this way you can create like dynamic habitats, if you will. So you could make your habitat bigger or smaller. And let's say, for example, for like a breeding program, you can make the habitat smaller in order to, give a little push for making the animals love each other a bit more and spend a bit more time together, if you phrase it that way. Or you can separate that a bit more, or if you have animals going a bit more aggressive on each other, and still you want to maintain them in somewhat of the same territory, you can have them in different areas of your habitat, which is, by the way, something that real zoos do quite often. Specifically, like with the giant panda is one of the most well-known ones for that, but also different species that you only put together for breeding, and then as soon as that is done, they live in a different habitat. But the habitats mostly are kind of created as looking like one and very cleverly separated from each other, so you as a guest get the feeling it's like one habitat, but it's not. So that was a bit of the idea I wanted to go with in this project as well, and that we do have this huge lagoon which feels like one entire entity, one big lagoon, one big thing that we can utilize as a big attraction to our park. But then at the other hand side, it's definitely more like one, and you've got a couple of those. By the way, this rock over here, the side texture of it, leaning that like 45 degrees-ish, rotated to the side, created such a brilliant texture. I definitely want to do something with this. I discovered that, and I feel like you can do some really cool kind of mountain shapes with that, because it's one of the biggest pieces in game anyways. You can scale them to a humongous size. It's almost like ridiculous how big you can scale them. And I'm also pretty impressed by how good the texture holds up with that. Like in the past, Frontier sometimes had brilliant textures, but they only worked on a smaller scope. And as soon as you made them bigger, it just became really an issue. And by bigger, I meant not scaling, because scaling was only introduced in Planet Coaster 2. Before that, it was like if you multiplied these pieces and laid them out as a huge kind of layer, it becomes like a very repetitive texture. But now they become so much better, and also textures do behave very nicely in scaling. Now, this is one of the, I think, most downloaded items in Jurassic World Evolution 3, which is pretty cool. I think it's like 15th most downloaded or something like that. My big stands, you know, my kind of arena stands, however you want to call them. And I am going to repurpose this one because that was initially built in a very typical kind of Jurassic style, but it definitely ties in very nicely to the 90s kind of build style. And I did 90-fy it a little bit, but also I lagoonified it a bit, if you will. So I took a bit more glass, I took a different kind of awning, a bit more of a nice shape to the top, and I kind of redesigned that thing for the usage here on the lagoons, because I felt like the version I was envisioning in my head is very close to what I have done anyway, so there was no real need to completely reinvent the wheel here. That is just something I wanted to try and see where this is going, and I'm like really pleased with the result. I used these kind of tent pieces here to create that like half dome-ish, what is that, like canopy to the top, like it's almost like a bit of a shade almost. It does look like a concert hall, which I am absolutely fine with. It also is something that the 90s, that reflects the 90s as much as I can think of, you know, concerts and stuff and big stages and stuff. That definitely for me screams 90s. I think the kind of the peak of stages in that sense, open air stages and stuff, I think that is where it all peaked, and it might just be my personal feeling, but I think it definitely is a very close relict, if you will, or actually a very symbolic thing, iconic thing of the 90s. So I feel like this is fitting very nicely, and I can see myself doing this. Even though from like the style of this canopy, it does remind me a lot of the Olympic Stadium in Munich, which should be 70s. I think I was for the World Cup in Germany, 1974, I guess it was. So I thought it was 90. It was 1990s. It wasn't that Italy. I think 74 was the one where the stadium was built. Anyways, so this is absolutely amazing. When you think of it, it looks really cool, and they have so many beautiful pieces in the game. And I ended up using the Visitor Center glass piece from the original one from Jurassic World, rotated that in another round, and it looks almost like a semi-underwater viewing, if you will say it. It's definitely something I'm proud of, because when I thought this piece, I was like, hey, that could work. And so I made this a bit more of an inlet here, where we can get closer to the actual barrier of the lagoon and make this feel like as if this is connected to this very door over here, where you go down and you have this huge kind of viewing inside of the lagoon. You're not only sitting on top, but you can also go down and have a look inside of the lagoon in a different way that is not the way the in-game like viewing works. I see that I was thinking a bit more about that. Is I want to make sure that we have novelty in here. I want to make sure these things look nice and new. By the way, what I also figured is this song, I also got to change the playlist by now. It's been a couple more times now. I think it's time to make it new. But this song also has some Mario Kart vibes in it, doesn't it? Like this screams 90s to me every single time I hear that, but it also has some Rainbow Road kind of vibes to it. That's what I was looking forward for last episode, when I was trying to find the right wording for that. I think it's Rainbow Road vibe here. But yeah, anyways, I'm using some soil over here to make like a kind of a planter area, because I felt like everything looks so sterile and clean and concrete. I think we just needed some plants and some color, and just making sure that it doesn't all look so boring and dull, which is something I definitely want to get to. The 90s are not boring and dull. They are colorful, They are expressive in a way, and this is something I definitely want to get more into. And you know, I think we've had enough discussions about if that's 80s or 90s. I think it doesn't even matter that much, you know. I don't want to restrain myself too much to a certain discussion about one kind of decade, and I think it's totally fine when you have like an opening in 1998 that you speak influence of 2 decades. I think that's just fine. So yeah, here you can see I figured that I needed to create like a lot more down here to make sure that this thing reaches the bottom and looks also believable from in the water. So I was just making sure this thing goes all the way down to the bottom of the lagoons. And they're actually, like, if you do these builds, you figure how big these lagoons are. And there have been people around on Reddit, and also Evo had a video about that, like with the lagoons. It makes sense to make them more shallow. They look more believable then, and you know, it's maybe not as animal friendly, but it does look a lot more believable if you do. So I also did do a bit of work on that one. So yeah, I also use these obviously to make sure that the hatcheries are covered nicely and still do work, so I just use them. Anyways, it's time for a little plug for myself. There is obviously Instant Gaming, a service where you can get games for a very good value if you want to. Also, the brand new Anno has released and you can get it there for a great value too. Same goes for this very game over here, and all your DLCs, favorite updates, or if you just need Steam money, you can get it there as well. So that's a pretty cool service, and you do support me directly by hitting the link in the description as always, and just check out if there's anything for you in store. Well, back to the video. We are going to our last little bit of today's video, which is the connections, because remember where we started with the centerpiece hasn't been touched so much anymore, and the reason for that is simply I wanted to make sure that the outside is fine, and now we are building a connection bridge that goes all the way to the central round area. And the central round area is kind of the idea that in the midst of it you can have almost like a, I don't want to say show, but maybe it is more like a show. I think it definitely makes sense. It's a bit of a shame that we don't have a feeder that you can put somewhere in the center of the water. But I would have loved to have like a custom shark feeder over here. I couldn't do this, but I feel almost like this could be a cool idea of these animals then being let into the center, and then you can let them do some stuff, or you can see them more up close, and maybe you can even have like a submarine there. I don't know. There are like plenty of things you could do with the central area for people to look closer to these animals, or just frankly, to be honest, just have a look around the lagoon from all sides. And I envision that there is a way to just check out this huge area. It is definitely a big area in here. It's very, 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 very huge, and it makes a lot of sense. It's a huge area. It looks almost like an entire water park, but that was also part of the idea. So I'm very pleased with the end result. I tried to tie it in as best as I could. There is always everywhere benches hidden, you know, making sure that people sit here eventually, so it looks a lot more alive. I wish we were able to put some actual pathways in here. That would be amazing, but yeah, unfortunately we are not able to do this, so we just have to use the power of our imagination in order to think about it as if there are some over here. But you can see by the size of the bridge is exactly like 4 meter. I think it's not even 4 meters wide. I think it's like 3 meters wide, which is a very sizable. It's a good bridge, but like in comparison to the rest, you can definitely see how humongous that is. Now, the last bit is I was using some of these brown rock pieces as like soil replacement, I want to say. It's like a implied soil, even though it's not, because I wanted to put some greenery in between, putting some trees in, making sure the whole area looks a bit more grown and nice, and you know, polished. And maybe polished the wrong word, maybe like finished, you know, because like foliage is the least thing you're going to put in habitats, also in real zoos, and it takes a while until it has grown to a stage where it really looks like as it was intended to. So brand new habitats sometimes look a bit boring and dull because the plant foliage hasn't grown to its size yet, and you know, normally it takes like up to 2 or 3 years until it looks the way the architects have actually envisioned that at the beginning. Also put some palm trees in the central area to make sure it looks a bit more nice. But that's about it what we did in over, what was that, 4.5 hours of footage or so. I cut down to about 20 15 minutes for you guys. Hopefully that was enjoyable. If it was enjoyable, please let me know by putting down some comments, like the video, and of course subscribe if you haven't already, telling the algorithm you like the stuff you see. Before we will hand ourselves over into the, well, capable hands is a strong word, but in the hands, in the hooves of Mr. Real-Time Rudi, who's going to take care of you in a bit after we've put down some of these fake tunnel entrances to go through the rocks. Okay, and with that we are in the game. You can see now we have animals in here. This is populated by the mosasaur, as you can see. There are also some other one, ichthyosaurs and so on. They just they're in here because I forgot to just, you know, enable the collision in that one. But after I've done that, it all works out just as I thought it is. You can see it looks really damn cool, but it is it's just so freaking big, as you can tell, but it looks so damn cool, and it also works pretty well with like the different kind of architectural structures and so on. The animals do really react to that nicely. We do have well, they do sink down very weirdly, but it just works. Over here we have got the megalodon. As you can see, they're swimming in that wonderful area here. They enjoy, and as I said, size wise it all works very nice now. So it's I thought it was going to be too big, but because I did use a bit more rocks to the sides as I was initially thinking, it now is a very nice size, and it does make a lot of sense to have it that size, and it looks all so freaking cool. You can see over here very nicely how they react to the foliage, and it looks very, very good. Much better than I expected, to be honest. Sometimes, you know, in Planet Zoo, for example, when you've got diving animals, they do react weirdly to stuff like that sometimes, and they do glitch through it or just like, you know, rotate weirdly on the sides. But they have done a fantastic job, as it seems. Well, you got to prove me wrong right now, do you? No, you're not. Look at that. They basically, it looked a bit more as if they're like slowed down a little, and then the animation is weirdly working. But it does look absolutely fantastic that they do react nicely here. Well, look at that, they're even like just chewing on themselves a little here. The Dunklesaurus, the Dunklekana, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. But yeah, so this is looking like this, but if we go over here, this is the one where we have a lot more smaller ones, as you can see. Let's go down and see if we can catch some of those, where they are. Hello, where you all? Where are you all? And these are just fish. Where's everyone else? Because they should be, hold on. Where are you guys? Are you all hidden away? Because I did have some Edinburghosaurus in here. Have they all been... Wait, hold on. Let's have a look where they are. I'm a bit confused. Are you guys? Oh, did they all back below? Oh my god. Well, don't tell me you did. Hold on. I've got to check. I got to double check. Because I did make this a lot more shallow than the other one. So it's... Oh my god. They are like all below. I think they all at some point just... Yeah. Okay, well, I think I gotta move this down, and it's not really that big of an issue. I think I could just get rid of that one and it should be fine, I guess. But I do have to, like, if that's fine, I know it should still work, but then, yeah, that might be open. But anyways, this should then work and everyone visible again. I could use these things. Honestly, it almost looks better now, the way it is. So I guess it's fine. Look, there's someone, Plesiosaurus is pregnant. But what nests are you even using? It's a very interesting question, because you should not have another nest available to you. There's just like the nest for the the ichthyosaurs. Okay, that is interesting. Oh wait, do we have like a baby megalodon? Did this really happen? Yes, it did. Did it? Wait, hold on. It failed? Which one failed? Yeah, of course it failed, because you don't have a hatchery. But yeah, you get the idea, and it is absolutely fantastic. Let's see if we can catch the baby meg. There we have got two, actually. Oh my god, even two baby megalodons. Look at that. This is fantastic. Hello, my little sharky friends. I mean, you look like proper sharks, don't you? Wow, look at this. That is so good. That is so freaking good. So yeah, our lagoons look really damn cool, and if you could zoom out, you can see it gets these. I think it really gets the 90s vibes in. I really think it does. This is really the idea I had when I was building the whole Delta kind of thing over here, to carry that idea of a... It almost looks like SeaWorld 1990s and about, like, or 2000s, just somewhere around this. I am just very, very happy with how this all you know, ended up looking now, with like the different stages going on here. There's like the center, you've got all the people. Actually, we should have a lot of people in the stands right now. Let's have a look. Yeah, there are a lot of people sitting here. Look at this. We've got a lot of people actually enjoying the views over here of the lagoon. You can even like see that. Oh my god, it looks so good. It looks so good. I'm actually totally fine with the people spawning on here. I can absolutely live with this. Because I feel like it adds to the realism of it. It adds to the idea that people are actually sitting down to enjoy the view. Do we also got some baby Kronos? Wait, hold on. Is that the... Oh, yeah, we do actually get some Donkleostus. Is that the word? How you pronounce that one? I could test in the menu, but I'm too stupid for pronouncing these animals anyways. So, that's that. We've got these ones, but I also put like some of the stands in the back here. Let's see if there's anyone on here. Not really, because people have to get here with the Hyperloop, so maybe it's not interesting enough for them now, but it will eventually become more interesting. We should have a lot of people sitting here, don't we? Not really, though. That's a bit interesting, because people should technically be able to get here too, and there are quite a lot of people in here anyway, so yeah, that is interesting. Do we have a lot of people here? Oh yeah, look at that. They're even using the Hyperloop, and they're coming in here with the Jurassic tour. So that is interesting. I'm wondering... Wait, hold on. They're all gone? No, they're all here now. Okay, maybe it's just like a very short-lived thing. No, it's not. I thought there were also people over here, but, well, I guess we will see that after we've got a lot of guests in the park. I don't even know how many guests we have in the park. Let's have a look. Guest count 2,000. That's actually nothing. This park should be estimated to go like to 30,000-40,000. I'm not even sure if that's possible in the game. But as to end the episode, look, this is our park as it stands right now. And I gotta say, it looks really, really cool. Oh my god, wait. Hold on. I can't even zoom out that much as I can with... that's interesting. I didn't even know look at how far we can zoom out now with the game's camera. That is not the way it was, because when I go to the capture mode, it just zooms back down. That is very interesting indeed. Oh, I love that. Wait, hold on. I love that. That gives me an overview I've not seen before. Look at this. Oh, wait, hold on. Can I actually... Oh, I can't even use, like, even if I use NVIDIA Ansel, it doesn't work. That is very interesting. So, seemingly we have now a lot more control to see the full maps. Is that supposed to be the way it is? I've never... Wait, hold on. I've never seen this map. Look, that is... That looks so good, though. That looks so interesting. But yeah, so this is the entire area of our park now. It's becoming a very, very nice park. And just for the records, the next episode is gonna be the T-Rex habitat. And oh boy, am I looking forward to that. I have not finally decided where to put it yet, but the chances are high it's gonna be that central area here. Because I want to make the building also be a very nice direction point of the park. So it's gonna be somewhat of a little weenie. In case you don't know what a weenie means in terms of theme park terminology, this is a building that draws you to a certain point, like this Pyroraptor dome over here. The central tower is definitely going to be a weenie. Our building here in the front is actually a little weenie. So be careful how you pronounce that, by the way. But yeah, so this is definitely it. The Raptor one isn't. That's just intentionally small. And then these kind of very strikingly bright canopies over here, or like the shades, are also somewhat of an element to draw the attention to people to go here. But yeah, our park is taking shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a huge kind of main street leading up the way. The idea of having transport systems is definitely great, because that would be insanely long walks for the people through here anyways, but still believable. So there is a way of connecting everything with the pathway too, so definitely gonna do this as well. But for the moment being, I'm very happy with the way we go. And just as a last bit, because I talked about that in the time lapse, as I said, this is gonna be a placeholder over here. You can see the... Hold on, what? Oh, I did misplace them, but it's not too much of an issue. I'll fix that here. But this in the front looks so good, just to show you. That looks really, really cool, as like the water dribbling in. I would need some more water effects inside of the lagoon's water, but the whole thing is gonna change. Like, we do need to have some sort of pipe system over here, some sort of like a dam that kind of keeps the water. But I like the effect with the waterfall here quite a lot. It just adds so much to the realism, like how water is flowing over it. Yeah, God, I could go on forever because I've got so many ideas. But yeah, I'm pretty damn happy with the lagoons we built today, and I hope you guys are too. If you are, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's the easiest way to tell the algorithm you like the content and you like what you've seen, and maybe you want to see more in the future, so the algorithm is nice enough to show you my next video, which is most certainly gonna come very soon. So until then, have a wonderful time, enjoy your time, guys. Make sure to keep watching videos, be inspired, make sure to get all the ideas and build yourself. Don't lose patience. There's a lot to do with this, and I hope I could inspire you a little today, and I'll talk to you, as always, in the next one. Bye.